Hello, welcome back to the MMA Split podcast. I am your host, Matt, joined as always by our producer, Josh. Where is Josh?
You were waiting for me to
There he
drop in.
is.
You're getting spoiled now. You can see the live feed.
I
I
know,
tend
I
to
know,
go a
I'm
little
taking
slow with the
advantage of
cuts.
it. Taking advantage of it. There's good information to have. We are, unfortunately, minus a Sly. He spent his weekend at Monegros, which, if you do not know, is a 24-hour rave. Apparently, it was as intense as it sounds. So, between the travel back and the lack of sleep, he has not had an opportunity to watch the fights as of yet, but he does not want them to be ruined, so he will not be joining us. He has submitted picks for the pick show, however. We will soldier on nonetheless.
So he doesn't know how
Lots to cover.
bad he shit the bed last picks last week.
Yeah, last picks was not good for him. You won the last picks, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You started to pull away a little bit, you
I
bastard.
uh I think we both had a good week. I think it was Pena Nunes that did it for me, but man, I was killing it on the methods. Up until the main card, every fight that I didn't get wrong, so I knew the winner. The method I had as well. So I think first six fights I got the methods. So I was like, it's looking pretty good. I don't know why I enjoy it more when I'm doing well on the picks, because classically, what I've noticed is that I tend to do quite well on the prelims, and then it's the main card that fucks me over. So I should never get too excited about it. But this was a fun card. This
This was
was
a
a really
great
good
card.
card.
Well, what have we got on our show today? We are going to be discussing everything that happened at UFC 277, a card that did not nearly have the same hype or excitement for a lot of people going in as 276, but that is why you cannot always judge a card by its lineup. This card delivered big time. Great main event. I love it when you get two women fighting in a UFC pay per view main event and they justify their selection. Because I had to hear so many people say this was a shit choice to be main event. Nunes is only good to be a co main event. And holy shit, was that proven wrong. We had two excellent title fights, some great finishes, bit of controversy, which is always good for a podcast like us because it gives us something to talk about. Some fun fights on the prelims, and we're going to be discussing it all, talking about the aftermath, everything that is going to be happening, and what sort of the next paths to take and next fights to book are. If you are enjoying the content, please do leave a like on the video. That helps. And leave a comment if you have anything to say. Even if it's negative, it will still be appreciated. With that out the way, we might as well start with our main event. It was a rematch. It was greatest of all time being questioned by myself. Didn't pick her in my picks at all. That was a mistake.
Well,
Precedent-wise, it doesn't usually go well when a champion rematches for their belt. Quite often we see dominant champions get that person that beats them and then lose again in the rematch. And that happens about 75% of the time in title rematches. Nunes was 34. There was questions over motivation, a lot of variables, the new kid. Obviously, that had been around before, but had that distracted her? Setting up the new gym, is that going to have an effect over her focus and effect? And really, what it proved is that she made every single change that she needed to make. She looked excellent in this fight. I'm not going to call the first fight a fluke, but I am going to say that it showed that when Nunes is focused and prepared and not coming in injured and off the back of COVID, there is no question who the best in the division is. No question whatsoever. But that being said, holy fucking shit. Juliana Pena might be one of the toughest human beings on the planet. That was insane.
well,
Josh, what were your thoughts going through when you saw this?
it's that classic. The best offense, the best defense is a great offense. Nunes said, "Oh, I didn't want to finish her, so I could prove that like the first fight just was what it was, and I'm the better fighter." But the truth is, even though Juliana took a beating through every round, uh, there were moments where she looked like she was stinging Nunes. There were moments where she was threatening submissions. She was a constant threat. At no point was she really truly out of the fight, even with her head split open and the three knockdowns in the second round. She just had a way of kind of every now and again just sort of taking it to Nunes. Not in a significant way, not in a point scoring way, but just in a kind of way that Nunes had to respect that. She didn't want to give up anything cheap here and lose a fight that she could win. Excuse me. And fucking hell. The Venezuelan Vixen is fucking tough as shit. I kind of loved watching the fight from her side as well, thinking, you know, if you go the distance here, you're proving a lot of things, not just to Nunes, but to the rest of the world. And yeah, man, like, we want to make excuses for why Amanda lost that first fight. I think it was just a little bit injuries, a little bit complacency, a little bit just not feeling as hungry, not training as hard. She switched it on for this camp. I don't know how much she's got left in her. You know, if she needs to lose to rediscover that fire at her age, with the lack of contenders at 45 and, well, kind of at 35 as well, to be honest, you know, how much more are we really going to get to see of her at her best? This might be
Well,
the last time we get to see the Lioness at her absolute peak. What do you think?
you make an interesting point. There's a couple of things I want to say. First and foremost, I saw this tweet, and a couple of other people have mentioned this, and I think it's the best description of this fight, which is that this was the most competitive, one-sided beating that you will ever see in mixed martial arts. Like, even though she lost every round, as you say, even though for the majority of the fight she got her ass kicked, she was so tough and she was so willing to hang in there. She never mentally gave up. Dangerous off her back, willing to throw punches even if she knows she's going to get hit herself. That she gave herself and the audience belief that there could still be something that happens in every single round. And Tom texted me afterwards and said, Pena just doesn't really look very good on the feet. And I was like, she doesn't, but she clearly has some power. And the thing is you look at the issues that people like Shevchenko had striking with her, that Jermaine Durandamy, who's a world class kickboxer, had striking with her, where for 2 rounds in that fight, she really didn't feel very comfortable. And I think the reason is like there's no way to fight Pena clean. She doesn't let you fight a technical hit and don't get hit fight. You're going to get hit no matter what you do. And I think you saw it on Nunes' face, even though she was far better on the feet and the switch to southpaw was genius and she just kept catching with that right hand. Even she had to accept that she's kind of just got to step back, get hit by a couple of these blitzes, and then pick that moment to strike back. And, and she was willing to do that. She showed toughness as well and willing to be like, no, I'm getting my title back. I'm going to stay patient. I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to stick to a game plan. And I'm not going to get frustrated when you hit me. I'm going to focus on what I am set myself to do. And I mean, the knockdowns were brilliant. The 3 knockdowns in the second round were brutal. I mean, the second one, she literally changed direction in the air.
I
Looks like
thought
a
it was
video game
over.
knockout.
I thought that fight was over at the second round there. Like, by the way, did you give that other 10-8? I didn't really understand the 50-43.
Yeah, it was
50-44 I'm
weird.
good with.
It was weird.
50-43 felt like a slap in the face.
It was weird. It was weird because I've watched the fight back in full, and there's nothing that you see in the fifth round. Like, there was more damage in the fourth round. It's just that
Yeah.
obviously, Pena had the armbar attempt and there were a couple of omoplatas and all that kind of stuff. I will say this, watching the fight back, it definitely should have been a 50-44. None of the omoplatas or the triangles were anywhere close to being it. When I watched it live the first time, it felt like she was closer with a few more. The only one that actually looked like it was in any danger was the armbar. And I have to say, it looked like Nunes defended brilliantly. I mean,
that reverse triangle, that when it was out, but it was only locked in for a brief second. There was a moment there though where I was like, Amanda's really gonna have to defend this, and then she just popped out again. But that reverse triangle looked pretty good at the start.
you know what I think though, and she gave a huge shout out to her excuse me, her jiu-jitsu coach. Um, I think she really worked those kind of positions in camp. I think she had a training camp where she was fighting out of fight ending sequences over and over and over again. And to be honest, I think that's why she kind of kept staying in there. Apart from the armbar, where you could see a little bit of panic, it didn't seem like she was worried about any of the other positions. She made every single right decision. She did every single right defensive move, and just the willingness she had to keep going to the ground, it did make me think that she was less nervous about the submission threat than she was about Pena catching her with something.
Yeah, for sure. It was a very composed performance. I
Yeah.
didn't see it as her. I know she came out and said, "Yeah, I could have finished her." I didn't see it. I thought it was going to happen, but Pena always found a way to stay in the fight. Shit,
She's so
I
tough, man.
I don't know how I feel about going trilogy,
I don't
but
think it's needed.
yeah, but then like, so who does Nunes fight next?
It's not needed right away. And that reminds me, I wanted to touch on your point about motivation. I think the biggest issue for Nunes in this situation was that this wasn't really the fight that she wanted to do. Pena was, if you recall back to December, they had Kayla Harrison watching live. It was all set up for Nunes to just get through the Pena fight and then have the big 145 showcase against Kayla Harrison set up. Obviously, with the loss, Kayla Harrison then goes back to the PFL. They have to do the rematch. It slows that whole roll down. But I think for Nunes now, I think she wants big fights. If it's at 145, she wants a Kayla Harrison, maybe even a fucking Cyborg rematch, something like that. 135, it's got to be another fight with Shevchenko. I think those are the fights that, excuse me, got a bit of a cough, that I think she needs, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, the Shevchenko fight, yes. Harrison Cyborg is going to be too tough. PFL playoffs start this week, so he's probably got a few more fights there. I don't also know how easy it is to get out of a PFL contract as a champion, because I know they have that like renegotiation clause or that re-signing clause when you win. And
They had
even
a
then,
ruse in December.
I think she made
They had a
40.
ruse in December.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she's made 45 once. It's just one of those. It just feels like a reach to me. The Kayla Harrison fight. Cyborg. Obviously, Bellator would probably be open to doing cross promotion things. I don't think they're going to release Cyborg to do this. I don't think Cyborg would sign with the UFC again. It's certainly going to be a lot less money. I just don't see that happening either. So it's for me, it's kind of Shevchenko or Pena, and I would be okay with either. It's kind of the same
Listen,
circumstances.
when I watch the fights, yeah. The issue I think Pena has, it's not that she can't make adjustments, but she's not going to improve her striking to the level that it would need to be to match what Nunes can do. Nunes isn't going to make the mistakes that she made in the first fight. We know that now. She knows what to be prepared for. And, one thing I'd say, the southpaw stance worked very well for Nunes, but I also felt that you could tell it's something that she wasn't entirely comfortable with. Early in the first round, there was a lot of switching in between, and it felt like it was that fighter knowing this is the game plan, but I don't quite like that read. This is what I'm comfortable with. No, I'm getting back to it.
Yeah.
She was very front, lead hand heavy. And listen, being somebody that's boxed as a left-handed person and boxed as regular, I can understand that. Your front hand suddenly feels really comfortable to throw everything with. But I would imagine if you give her another 6 months of training, another fight camp, we're going to see the left hand coming into play. We're going to see stance switching. We're going to see new wrinkles. So the worry I have for
Maybe,
Pena
but
is I think
it's already a ballsy game plan, going switch stance against an orthodox heavy-handed grappler. You're just teasing that single leg the whole fucking time, and it worked well because then she was able to land the check hook. But yeah, I thought it was a really brave, really ballsy choice. Fucking worked a treat. But if Pena kind of just worked a few different like level change combos, not something as predictable as like put the right straight down, go single leg, go double leg, jab, 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 overhand, things like these. They're a little predictable. Everyone's going to be training against that. They're going to kind of see that coming. If she can work things off, maybe start. Yeah. I'm not going to. But like kind of work the low kick as well, just to give him a slightly different look. Because that's the other thing. Like if they're going to leave that same side leg out there, it's not going to be as powerful, but you're going to be able to land a lot of outside calf kicks, particularly when they're not looking to check the kick as much as they're looking to throw a check hook when you're coming in on the level change. Little things like that, perhaps, that you could add wrinkles, certainly. And again, as a heavy-handed grappler, she's always going to have a chance. There's always going to be a threat in every round. Shevchenko, way better fighter than either of these ladies, honestly. But I mean, how acclimatized to 125 is she? How pronounced would the size difference be? Ugh. I'll
I
watch either
think
fight though.
Nunes is a better grappler. Nunes is a better grappler than Shevchenko, and her jiu-jitsu is better.
I don't know if it's just on paper though, or if it's just how fucking big she is. Because
I
Nunes always looks
Nunes
great
has
on top.
shown Nunes has shown excellent to be one of the best grapplers in two divisions.
When she's on top.
When she's on true, but she's only ever put on the bottom when it's a cardio issue, not a grappling issue. And on top of that, I would say that we've seen Shevchenko struggle in grappling situations with women that she can't just manhandle.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm saying, you know. How much weight is she going to put on for the Nunes trilogy fight, you know?
She wouldn't. She's already said she wouldn't.
So I don't like that one so much. I think that's a mistake. Maybe. I'll still fucking watch it. Gotta watch something. No, that would still be an exciting fight. That would be a good booking. But it's really just the two fights. Outside of that,
She's probably got two left, dude. Like maybe Ketlin Vieira in Brazil would interest her, but I think she'd only agree to that if they like promised her Shevchenko afterwards.
yeah, maybe. We'll see though. It's going to be exciting. The Lioness is back in a big way. It was a great fucking performance, and Pena's an absolute fucking beast. Go on.
Can we just say, what a weekend for the Lionesses in fucking general? The Lioness takes her belt back, and the fucking ladies, they take the step that the Lions could not. They get the fucking trophy. And tell you what, man, Chloe Kelly, iconic celebration. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. She kind of goes to take the shirt off, and I'm like, she's actually going to take the shirt off, stops, and you're thinking, oh, she calmed herself down. It turned out, no, she just stopped to double check that the ref that they hadn't been flagged for offside. Soon as no flag went up, tops off, waving it round. I was like, that's fantastic. And it had a bit of controversy as well, because there should have been a handball given in the box against England that VAR didn't check. So that just makes it so much better.
Honestly, when it comes to football these days, it's Bournemouth or nothing. We've got Villa this weekend. I'm absolutely fucking buzzing.
Premier League's back.
Yeah, we're trying to play with 3 centre halves at the back, and we only have 3 centre halves on the books, and only one of them is really Premier League quality. So that's fucking terrifying. Scott Parker's doing his absolute nutting. We've signed 2 midfielders and a right back, which is crazy because we need a left back to cover, a centre half to start, a centre half to cover, and another centre half to start if we're going to commit to this 3 at the back. We need our midfield's our strongest position. That's where we're fucking signing like really quality players. It's been an awful off season for us. I have no idea what they're thinking. Fuck it though.
You never know though, dude. Arsenal have had an off season that I could have only dreamed of. Like we need 2 more players. We're going to get the 2 more players. It looks like we're going to get them in the positions we need. I'm actually already happy with the squad for starting day one. Jesus looks phenomenal. But it can all go wrong. Like we've won every preseason game, but that doesn't mean that we beat Palace. You could have a terrible preseason and then play brilliantly in the league. You never know.
I fucking hope so, because we haven't won a game all preseason.
The tricky thing is though, Villa's a tough game. Coutinho's there permanently now. They've got Ings, they've got Watkins, they've got Gerrard managing. That's a tough game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Are you home or away?
I think we're home actually.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the first time we were in the Premier League, it was Villa at home. So I don't know if I've just fucked up the fixtures because of that. Either way,
Possible.
I can't watch it on the Cherries website anymore. I've got to go out there and get a design subscription, watch it in Spanish. Fuck it, I couldn't be more excited though.
DAZN Spanish commentary is amazing, dude. Particularly for Bournemouth, because like once you get past like their first 3 tiers of commentators, they just know that nobody's really checking on how well they do their jobs, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not going to enjoy that as much as you think I'm going to enjoy that. Plus, I've had a whole season of the silent commentators. You know, I'm going to miss that. I think I'm just going to put the radio on at the same time. Just do it that way.
Smart move.
Yeah.
Smart move.
But
talking of smart moves, let's move on to our co-main event.
Just because I go to the effort to make these slides, and then every week I'll fucking forget. So let's move on to the co-main.
Co-main event. This is a really good fight, man. Another rematch of a 2019 fight that Brandon Moreno just got the nod over. Very close fight, very competitive. both of these guys was obviously, Moreno had become the champion, had his trilogy with Figueiredo. Kai Kara France had a series of impressive knockout wins as an underdog, had deserved his opportunity. I think this was a more merited interim title than other interim titles have been. Well, I thought that until I saw that Figueiredo was in the crowd, and I was like, okay, whatever contracts issues they've had, they've clearly sorted out because he's going to step in and have the fucking face off with whoever wins this. And I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't hoping for Moreno, not because I've got anything against Kai Kara France, but I really want to see that fourth Figgy fight, and I wanted it to be for the belt. In the end, he gets it done, but I got to be honest, man, I thought Kara France was getting the better of him first 2 rounds. He kind of needed to sort of make it scrappy and get in his face and wear him down, and then obviously just ended up landing the perfect kick.
Yeah, you put that body work in, it's going to pay dividends, but those were 2 close fucking rounds. I mean, I scored him for Brandon, but I think one judge gave 2 to Kai, one judge gave 2 to Brandon, and one judge split them. Which, to be honest, seems about right. They were very, very close rounds.
I had it 1-1. I thought maybe Moreno won the second. I think I put Kai down for the first, maybe vice versa. What's interesting, that third round was all Kai.
Until it wasn't.
It really looked like it was turning it on. But the thing is that there's just something about Moreno, man. It's that he's got that same element that Pena has, but obviously with far more well-roundedness and skill and technique around it. But you just don't feel like you can finish him. And it's so hard against a guy like that because when you know he's going to be walking forward, putting pressure on, he's not going to get tired, he's going to be in your face, you're not going to be able to finish him with the same stuff that finishes everybody else. And he can grapple. I did feel like, even seeing the way that third round was going to go, I felt like Moreno just being able to weather that storm, he would eventually wear him down. And you could see there was a point in the third round where it became Moreno really pressuring and chasing him. But that kick, man, it's just the hands go too high, foot slips underneath, it crumbles you. We had 2 of those on this card. I mean, 2 chopped livers.
Yeah. The other one was my favorite, but this was a fucking
great one.
The other one
was gorgeous.
But I love the way James Krause just kind of kept snapping him out of his bad habits, stopping him from staying too stationary and in that kind of dogfight zone, and really calling for the blitzes when he needed it. He understood. I like talking about it quite a lot, but those momentum changes are very significant, particularly in 5-round fights. And man, Moreno and James Krause, shit, that might just be a dream come true.
Devastating for Kai Kara France, and him and Moreno had a nice moment of respect afterwards. Nothing but respect between those 2 guys. He had his whole team there, Izzy, Volk, all of those guys. They were all out there for it. So
my heart breaks.
They're all there for. They're all there for commiserations. But I'll tell you what, a couple of thoughts about post-fight on this one. Like, I know that I'm not delighted with Izzy at the moment, and I have my Izzy tip rant a few weeks ago, and his last fight wasn't very exciting. But there's something about those city kickboxing guys, man. Like, I really respect how together they are, and the fact that they're always there for each other. They'll fly halfway around the world to watch each other's fights and be there as a team. And there's something really nice about that. And you have these 2 guys who are champs, and it doesn't go to their head. They don't forget the people who helped them get there in the gym. They still sort of operate like they're just one of the guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, Volkanovski isn't even really a team member. He just cross-trains with them a lot. It's just just like-minded people, just that camaraderie they got, though. It's not like an exclusive gym, elitist, anything like that. They all got a good attitude. And Kai Kara France will be back, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Other moments I loved is the face-off between Figueiredo and Moreno, which so could have been set up in your typical boxing style WWE. The 2 guys say a bit of shit in the ring. And I loved watching Moreno just completely remove that as an option. Just be like, we've had such shit in the past, man. I'm not going to say anything about it. I haven't got anything against you, man. I want to fight you, but with respect. And then Figueiredo obviously returning, being like, to everyone who's booing me, just remember that there are 2 men that respect each other in this octagon right now.
Well, I love what Figgy said afterwards as well. He was like, before, I fucking hated him. I get in there, he's so nice. I have to respect him. It's a really nice moment. But now I'm back to training. I hate him again. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's where your head should be at. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah. But the thing is, that is Figueiredo as well. Like, I think he has that mentality going in, but after all of the fights, man, he's been so, like when he lost the belt, he picked up Moreno. He held him
Yeah.
up. I mean, I think he's the god of war in there. But I mean, he's an interesting character, Figueredo. Like, I think he's a sushi chef or something like that, a very high level sushi chef. He used to be a hairdresser. Like, he's an interesting guy. Like,
With that haircut, I'm not eating your fish, pal. If that's the fruit of your labor, I'm good.
I think he's a lot more than the god of war. And listen, I am so stoked for that fight, dude. Bring on the fourth fight. Let's fucking go. 4 fights, all for the title. They're going 1-1-1 into the fourth one. This is what it's all about, mate.
Yeah, I mean these guys are the best in the division. Pantoja begs to differ, and he will have his time. He will have his time.
We'll talk about Pantoja. How much fun is flyweight right now?
I hate speaking in hyperbole, but probably my favorite division right now.
Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that.
Nah, right now, I'm going to take flyweight over lightweight. I'm going to take flyweight over bantamweight.
You're insane.
I'm going to take flyweight over women's strawweight. I'm going to take flyweight. That's right now. I think that might be my favorite division.
I think flyweight's probably 4th on my list. Right now.
The other thing is I'm such a huge Brandon Royval fan that I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I'll tell you what, there's not enough fighters who aren't ranked at flyweight at the moment for me for it to be higher than other divisions. Like, you think about how good of a high-level matchup you can have at lightweight between 2 guys that are like 2 fights away from being ranked.
So, yeah, I'd say with lightweight, you've probably got, if you wanted to go like who's got the best top 25, top 30, top 50, it's lightweight all day long. But if you're like, who's got the best top 5, top 10? Who has the most interesting landscape right now? Even if we are going to do the first over the fourth fight. Quadrology? What's the correct term? I don't even give a fuck.
I have no idea, dude.
It's flyweight for me right now.
It's a series.
The characters. It's a series, yeah. Temporada. Right now, for me, the characters they got, the fight styles, the fact that just at flyweight, the things you're able to pull off in the scramble and everything, and that they still got some heavy-handed motherfuckers, and they've still got some straight-up killers and finishers. Yeah, 125 might just be edging it for me.
I can't put it. Bantamweight, lightweight, they're just such a high level for me, dude. And I'll tell you what the exciting thing about them is that you're getting people matching up in the right way. Like, it's looking like we are going to get big fights matched up in the right way at lightweight. Bantamweight, the whole top 10 are basically booked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so if O'Malley keeps it competitive with Jan, or even, God forbid, starches him, I might spring back to 35. I don't know. But, like, all weight classes in MMA, well, we're talking specifically in the UFC right now, but all weight classes in every organisation should know. I'm a fickle piece of shit. My heart's always for sale. You can always swing me with a recent performance.
Josh is a hype man. Josh is a hype man.
No.
Okay, we talked about the titles. Let's talk about some of these other fights. Let's talk about Derek Lewis versus Sergey Pavlovich.
Oh.
There are two schools of thought right now. There is the school of, and both are wrong, in my opinion. There's the school of thought that Derek Lewis was completely fine and was going to magically rise up and then just immediately win the fight. That he was definitely losing badly. Okay? Then there are the people that think that stoppage is fine and that there's no question that Derek just would have been finished in the next 5 seconds. I feel both of these are wrong. Was the stoppage early?
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. Did it look particularly good for Derek Lewis? No, not at all.
Do you blame Dan for it?
Yes, and I will tell you why. You need to know who you're reffing. If that was the Dontel Mays Hamdi Abdel Wahab fight, and you stop it there, I go fine. They're unranked guys. They got fucking years left in the career. You know what I mean? There's no point on a fucking prelim these guys taking, you know, unnecessary damage. They're not at that level yet. But these are guys that, you know, they're ranked. This is a big fight. Derek Lewis needs the win. It's Derek Lewis. He can knock anybody out. We've seen him be beaten way worse and come back. Now, we've seen him be beaten and lose, but he's goddamn earned enough fucking respect and you know, enough victories from behind in the UFC to be given at least the opportunity to get to a finishing sequence.
Now, that
being said,
like, he went down like he smashed a fistful of Xanax. Weirdly,
he didn't.
I agree with Dana White on this one. It's an early stoppage. Shouldn't have happened. Dan Mergliotta, from the way he's seeing it, why the fuck wouldn't he step in and call that? It looked like Lewis was fucking out. He went down like a sack of potatoes. And yeah, I don't think that fight was going to end too much differently. Ultimately, I felt like Spivak... excuse me. Can't get my words out today. I felt like Pavlovich was going to finish him at some point. But right there and then, yeah, not fucking necessarily. Dan made a mistake, but it was completely understandable. He just saw Lewis go down, shell up, having taken some looked like good shots, but I don't know how many of them were actually landing. Go on.
Here's the thing that really seals my viewpoints on this, watching it back. It's not a case. So when I watched it live, my initial reaction was correct stoppage, because the reason Lewis is able to get back up is because Dan has stepped in. Do you follow my drift? So the first time I watched it, I thought Lewis gets dropped, ref steps in, and then he stands back up, right? Having rewatched it back, as soon as he drops to his knees, he is immediately getting back up before Dan Migliotta comes in to stop it. Now, he does fall forward, but he doesn't fall flat in his face. He falls to his knees. And that's something that Lewis has a tendency... He fell with his hands
around his head, right? Am I just forgetting that? I swear he came down like this.
He didn't hit his head on the canvas. It's not like he fucking full face planted and then kind of stumbles back up. And Lewis has a tendency to fall forwards. Like, you never see Lewis fall backwards if he gets hurt. He has a tendency to kind of fall forwards. And the reason is because if he is on the ground, he finds it a lot easier to stand back up, belly facing down, than he does back against the canvas. So
also, people have to give him that distance, because if you haven't given him the room to fall forwards, you have given him the room to catch you with a wild hook. And
yeah.
Everyone remembers the fucking Volkov fight, so...
And listen, dude, I don't think he would have won the rest of the fight. I just think that you're taking... When you stop a fight early like that from a guy that has earned enough to not have a fight stopped early, to be given the benefit of the doubt, you just remove the ability to have full closure for both guys. Now, I'll tell you what I don't want to happen is I don't want to see them run this back, because I don't think that's fair to Pavlovich. And to be honest, I don't think that's going to do Lewis any favors. What I think would be far better is if they give Lewis what they usually do when he's, not looking as confident, give him a lower ranked, unranked guy, maybe a bit of a grappling heavy guy. If he gets a couple of wins back, then maybe we can talk about running.
Well,
yeah, no more Texas for Derek Lewis.
They talked about running it back, but right now Volkov, I can't remember who he was scheduled to fight, but I think he needs a dance partner for 280. Or, anyways, it's coming up. He's got a fight coming up, and I think Pavlovich might just slot right on in there. I think
that's a good fight.
I think that's a fucking great fight.
That's a really good fight.
Yeah, I think it's a fight that Pavlovich can really sink his fucking teeth into, because he's up there with Aspinall, Romanov, Spivak. He's one of these heavyweights that I rate. So some of the fresh blood coming in. I think they might do that. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a good fight. He's got the longer arm reach.
It's got to be Volkov.
Because that's still got to be Volkov. That's something that's interesting for Pavlovich to deal with, because he's had a reach advantage over most of the guys he's fought, even though he's only like 6 foot.
Yeah, and he's still gonna have a lot of power coming back from Volkov, but he is probably gonna have a very discernible speed advantage. So,
true.
Can he set traps? Can he maybe chop at the legs a little bit and just work that opportunity to pump that 1-2 through the middle? I think he can. I would like to see that fight.
Me too. That's a good fight. All right, let's talk about Pantoja. I had a feeling this was going to happen. I didn't think that Perez was anywhere near this guy's level. And fucking hell did Pantoja show up, man. This was... I mean, he went at him like he had no respect for anything that guy did. Like, you could think it was reckless, but I realized once he took the back, it wasn't. It's just, I see a man in front of me that I do not believe can hurt me, grapple me, or beat me in any aspect, and I am literally just going to go through him.
Well, fucking right now, you're fighting on a main card where two guys in your weight class are fighting for an interim championship, and although it was exhibition fights, it was in the Ultimate Fighter House, you have wins. Either both, fucking both of them. So it's like, Jesus Christ, this is it. I really think now he just sits and he fights the winner of Figgy Moreno. That just seems like the best thing for him to do, right?
100%. And I don't know. I could easily see him winning against either guy.
I love 125.
Figgy's tricky. Because the stance, the length, and the power's an issue. But I don't think there's anybody he can't out-grapple. I think he out-grapples Brandon Moreno. I think he out-grapples Figgy.
Probably.
I just don't know if he doesn't eat some hard shots in his way to trying to close the distance. Moreno, I actually think, would probably be more technical and probably do better in the scrambles. But I don't know if he'd have the power to deter him. That would be a big issue for him.
Channel subscribers may have just briefly heard Sly in the background there. He is still alive.
Yeah, he's downstairs. He's still alive.
We're not lying about him being alive, by the way. It's just the one time we got him on an episode, we fucked it up. Fucking power
This
cards.
is not Weekend at Bernie's. That movie is weird. Pantoja, he couldn't have done himself any more favors. Pay-per-view card, make a statement, make everyone remember who you are. And for me, being somebody who obviously has to stay up till 4 a.m. for these main cards in Spain to watch them live, it's greatly appreciated when that second fight on the card can just fucking run through. Get that gravy train going, get me to that finish line. Anything else you want to talk about Pantoja or Alex Perez? I mean, Alex Perez, they propped him up way too quickly, man. He's not at the level where they've put him. It's not his fault.
I'm not willing to write him off right now. That was way too long a layoff. Boys got to keep busy. Don't turn fights down now. It just doesn't matter who they're offering you. Just fucking take that fight.
I'm not writing him off either. I'm just saying, like you say, he's been out for 2 years. Why is he fighting a guy that's basically in a title eliminator? Like a match Chanel, a Sumadeji, a Tim Elliott. I feel like that would have been far more the level that he should have been dealing with.
Yeah, I guess it was just kind of availability. The fact that so many fights had fallen apart, and then obviously his last fight was for the belt, so it didn't feel like an awful booking. There was just that big question mark, and obviously we erred on the side of Pantoja. Part of that was the layoff, so I don't know. I think Perez, he could be a top 5 guy. I think there's a lot to like there. I didn't think we were going to see any of it in this fight. It didn't play out that way. The boy will be back.
He had a rough.
He's still south of 30. He's good.
He had a rough weekend though. Even at the press conference, he was the only person who wasn't asked a single question. He just sat there, and that was on a fucking table where 3 of the people spoke 0 English. So it's like you're an American, fluent in English, and you still got less questions in your own country than people that needed a translator and gave like 2-word answers.
Hey, I'm not the only fickle cunt around it, Media just like me. What have you done for me lately? If we haven't seen you in a while, I might have forgotten who you were,
Very true. Okay, let's talk about Anthony Smith. Let's talk about Smith versus Ankalaev. As a avid fan of the Believe You Me podcast, and an avid fan of Anthony Smith, that is a great podcast for me to watch because he's on it. And he has talked a lot of shit about how he was going to smash Ankalaev and how he just doesn't see it. The guy's just not that good. Talks about how he's found his perfect balance for training. He doesn't need to train too hard. It's all about enjoying himself, and no, I'm going to go on holiday to Aruba, and no, I didn't turn down any of the desk jobs at the UFC. I'm doing every single weekend for 6 weeks during my training camp, and oh, I've got this wedding I'm going to go to. No, I'm not going to turn that down. There is an issue with his stance that comes up against guys that kick a lot, and it's that he doesn't check kicks and he has a wide karate stance and he asks for trouble. And it happened in the Rakic fight in round 1 and disabled him, and he was just beaten up for 3 rounds. And it happened again here. And this is less acceptable because you're fighting a southpaw. You should not be able to get kicked in the legs. You should be aware that Ankalaev wants to do that, and for the love of God, you should be looking to check that, because from the southpaw stance for an inside kick, you only need to check it once or twice, and the other guy is not going to throw them anymore. You just need to discourage it. Even taking that away, I'll be honest, first round before his ankle and his ankle's broken. Like, his ankle is broken. It was an injury. He tried to persevere. He pulled guard, did everything he could. In the end, he was just fucking defenseless.
I don't even say pulled guard. It was literally, I've seen guys try to fight on one foot. Cejudo got away with it against Mighty Mouse. Chandler didn't against Primus, and no, but you're on one leg, and Gilbert Melendez against Poirier. Was it Poirier or Pettis? Kicked the shit out of his leg.
Anyway, I think it was Pettis.
I've seen guys try to fight on one foot and trying to pull guard, and it's always like the most kind of pathetic, just sort of slip off the neck and just lie on the ground and be scared to stand up again because of how fucked your leg is. Anthony did this with a broken ankle, which is infinitely more difficult. Honestly, it's even if you've ruptured ligaments or had a bad sprain or anything on your ankle, you understand how impossibly difficult it is to move on it. He was kind of weirdly but almost successfully kind of engaging with trying to pull guard there, and as kind of shit and pathetic it might have looked to a casual fan, I was like, the fucking heart on this kid, it's unreal. I cannot believe he's still trying to win this fight. Like, that is just ridiculous. Just too proud to quit.
Yeah, and listen, you got to respect that. Removing that, talking just about what I saw in the first round from 2 guys that weren't injured, it looks like an Ankalaev fight. You know, he spoke a lot about how he's going to put the pressure on, and, you know, this guy's been in 18 mixed martial arts competitions. He's never been in a real fight. And in the end, he found the same difficulties that everybody finds against Ankalaev. He's really good. He counters brilliantly. He maintains that range and space where you can't quite feel like you're there. And if you try and lunge in, he's pulling away and then snapping something back at you. If you do nothing, he just starts picking you apart at distance. Ankle break or not, I don't know if Anthony's winning that fight. In fact, weirdly, the one time he looked decent on his feet was at the start of the second round, where he just was focused on closing the distance. And I thought, man, that's the Anthony that you needed to be in the first round, man. That needed to be the guy bringing the dogfight when you're 100%. Instead, you got caught in the technical game, and it's tragic, but I don't think he was going to be Ankalaev that day, injury or not.
Hard to say. I thought there was a lot to kind of like from his stance in the first round, to be honest. He wasn't trying to win that outside foot battle, but it's not as pertinent in MMA as it is in boxing, because you do have other options and you're not just limited to your hands and the angles that you've got with your power hand. But you know, I thought he was framing himself well. I think he was positioning himself fairly well. It's just one of those, he's getting a little older. I think, you know, the first round told me that 2 or 3 years ago, Anthony Smith might have had a lot of fun really fucking trying to take it to Ankalaev and make it a dogfight. It's just, you know, he got a little bigger. He's not young anymore. He looked a little slow, and then it's just a freak thing. You know, he even did, you know, when he was attacking, he did end up stepping on Ankalaev's foot, I think once or twice quite significantly. I wonder how much that might have kind of shaken up his ankle a little bit as well, not checking the leg kicks. It's not like it's a comedy of errors, and also you're a top level fighter. Stakes are high here. You win this fight, it means something. Do you really come out blitzing in the first round, a la Ngannou against Rosenstrike? Like,
I'm not saying blitzing.
No, I know, but you know what I mean. There's this balance, right? So at what point do you have faith in your corner, your game plan, your technical abilities that you can still give this guy some looks he's going to be uncomfortable with? And at what point do you go, do you know what, put it all out, throw it all out the fucking window. Let's just make this a really dirty war. Let's try and fight in a phone booth here and see who comes out on top. So there's always that kind of balancing act. And there's a lot of fighters that will take a round off to, feel out the opponent. Yan, famously Cowboy, Cerrone. There's always fighters like that will come under a bit of stick for taking a round off. And then there are fighters that, get pulled up for rushing in, being too crazy. Hamzat Chimaev's not going to be able to do that shit forever. He's going to get caught with something cheap eventually. Probably not anytime soon. But, there's always this balancing act. I wasn't too unhappy with the way round one panned out. But, yeah, we all picked Ankalaev for a reason. Yeah. It might have been a bridge too far. But, honestly, we'll just never fucking know because it's just such a shitty fucking injury to get. And,
Well, can I at least say this for Anthony Smith for his comeback if he wants to have a run to the title? And I think he's probably got one more run left. I think there's an easy matchup to make because I think, as we'll get to when we do the picture later today and discuss, I think Santos is going to be coming off a loss himself after next weekend. They fought once. Santos won. It was at middleweight. You match those guys up. Winner stays alive and can still kind of have a push to the title. Loser probably fades away. I think that's the fight to book. But Anthony Smith has got to work on checking leg kicks. There's 2 fights out of his last 5, his last 2 losses, you could say rather, where vulnerability to damage to the legs has been his biggest issue. Now, if you're a fighter whose chin starts to go, and you like to be an absolute trade one to hit one kind of guy, you've got to change that because the situation of your body doesn't dictate that that's a good style for you anymore. If your issue is that your legs get torn to pieces and you have issues when you get kicked hard in them, checking kicks has got to be number 1 priority. I think he's got to make that adjustment if he's ever going to take that big step forward.
Yeah. And if you're not checking them, you're fucking countering every single one. The second you see those hips swinging at you, it's go time. It's got to be one or the other. You've got to do something. You can't just sit there and take it and think, okay, so the next time, maybe I'll do that differently. It's not one of those situations you want to try and feel out. We're not measuring distance here. Leg kicks happen. Yeah. If he's throwing them naked, he fucking pays for them. If he's not throwing them naked, he should be fucking paying for them. That's the level we're at.
Also, look at what you buy when you can take away the leg kick. It's like so much of what allows Jan to have that kind of dangerous, patient approach. Like a big factor of what beats Izzy is that he's just so good at checking leg kicks. Yeah. He just kind of removes it as an opening thing. It's something that I'd like to see from Smith, and it's something that I kind of had a bad feeling. Like right from the start, when I saw the wide stance, I just thought like, you're gonna get kicked in the legs, and something's gonna happen. But c'est la vie. 4 finishes on the main card. It's pretty damn good. Absolute cracker of a decision in the main event. Let's talk about some of these prelims. Moreno versus Semmelsberger. Got this one wrong. Alex Moreno might actually be really, really, really good.
Well, I knew he was good. Say he's the more talented fighter. It's just he could be a bit inconsistent, and frankly, it's another one of those guys that it's like, well, you talk about how there's too much not enough talent at welterweight and lightweight, but I think a 165 division would be fucking good.
Yeah, Moreno, I thought he'd be too small for this fight, and actually now I'm changing my mind. He really worked Semmelsberger very well.
The first 2 rounds. I think he might have taken mercy on him in the 3rd round when he saw his eye. Could you believe that fight didn't get stopped?
Dude, Semmelsberger beat the odds twice. Like the first one, the doctor not covering the eye and just leaving enough of a gap that his good eye could see 2 fingers. But when Dan Mogliato was it Dan Mogliato? For that fight? I think it was.
Let me see if I can bring it up.
I think it was. I'm relatively sure it was. I'm going to say it was Dan for the moment. It's about to start again. And Dan Mogliato, an intelligent human being, sees it and just goes, no, you obviously can't see out of that eye. Like, I have eyes myself. I know what fighters like. I know what the situation is. He either does an eye test himself or he calls the doctor back, who does it again and fully covers the eye, but does one finger, and he just guesses. And even on the commentary team, they're like, "I think he just guessed." Like they had his other eye fully covered. I think he just guessed number one. It's like, fuck, well, he's passed twice. We can't just keep like denying it.
If I can't see your eye, you cannot see out of that eye. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what colour's my eye? I don't know. Would you think I can see out of it? You definitely cannot see out of that eye. At the same time, Bisping won a championship with one eye. It's a fucked up world, isn't it? But Semmelsberger got what he wanted, and he did get a chance to kind of exact a small modicum of revenge in that third round.
He won the round. He won the rounds. At this moment, that flying knee, for a second there, it looks like he'd completely turned it around. Yeah. You're just like, oh shit, but Moreno's tough. That was a good fight. Best fight on the prelims though, Drew Dober taking on Rafael Alves. Holy smokes, this was a fun fight. Drew Dober brings it. Dober brings it every time. To be fair, more and more, particularly in the last two fights against McKinney and Alves, even when people have him in bad positions on the ground, he is showing more and more of an ability to scramble and fight out of those. And on the feet, he is just impossible to finish, man. And he has that ability just to stay in there and put pressure, and he'll eat shots, and he'll figure things out. And, I mean, really, for 2 rounds, this was not going well for him. I thought Alves was styling on him at some point. You know, that moment after the timeout for the groin shot.
Oh,
was it a groin shot or an eye poke? Where the pace just exploded, and Alves was doing all the head dodging and rolling and styling. He was throwing crazy kicks. I kind of just thought, like, man, Dober's having this is a tough fight for Dober. But he just kept in his face, man. And as it says, Teddy Atlas always says, if you can't hit the head, aim for the body. Because if they're moving the head, the body's staying in one place. And you like this liver shot more than the body kick from Moreno. Yeah. This is classic boxing, man. This is just line it up, mixing up the targets, going high a few times, and then just see that liver.
Yeah. This is, the guy's shelling up. He has adequate defense. Let's just take that all away from him. I gotta be honest. I've never been hit in the head so hard that it hurt worse than I'd say the top 20 times I've been hit in the body. Body shots fucking count. Body shots fucking hurt. And some guys just don't really react to headshots. Everybody reacts to body shots. It's a great leveler.
Your liver's connected to one of your central nerves that basically runs all the way up your back directly to your brain. So if you get a huge amount of trauma and shock into there, it basically disables you. You cannot, it's an involuntary reaction. It's like sneezing. You crumble.
Yeah. I mean, geez, you think about how many predators have evolved to prefer the taste of liver to anything else. It is the key to your body. You know, you get liver disease. It's not necessarily what kills you. It's all the other shit that happens because your liver doesn't work anymore. Or just the psoriasis or whatever else you did to your liver. You know, it's almost like AIDS or something. It just strips your body of all kind of protection, all kind of function. I don't know, there's science to it. The liver's just too fucking important. And even if it's not the liver, honestly, like busted ribs, punctured lungs, I can't remember his name now. Koreshkov against Chance Rencontre, like that spinning body kick where he left like a foot mark of broken ribs. That one, atrocious. But yeah, you put the body work in. My favourite boxer now, that Japanese kid Inoue. All about that body
he's
work.
A master at it.
Yeah.
Mickey Ward is a great body puncher. I'll tell you what, man, you want to see a brutal one. Buzz Rutan's rematch against Frank Shamrock in Pancrase.
Yeah.
I think he actually burst his liver. Like, it was bad. Like, he required immediate surgery on his liver and was in agonizing pain. And if you hear Buzz Rutan talk about it, it's terrifying because he just lists it like it's just so matter of fact. He's just like, and here we go, and then I read this, and kick to the liver, and as you can see, he's in a lot of pain. That's because his liver exploded.
Bang, da da bang, da da bang. Excuse me, sir, now I have to kill you. Yeah, I love Buzz Rutan.
He is a terrifying human being. I would never have wanted to go into the nightclub that he was a bouncer in.
Nah. All right. We said
Yeah.
we've got no slides today. We said we were going to take about 10 minutes on the prelims. We've done about
We've
8.
done 10 minutes.
No, we've done about 8.
Okay,
But
we can run through this pretty quick.
no, there's still some. Let's start with our favourites, and then we'll just run through the rest real quick.
Okay, Hamdi Abdel Wahab was really fun. I like this guy.
Fuck yeah, this guy's fucking for real. Plus, two bare knuckle MMA fights as well that don't count officially on his record. Within like 2 months of each other as well. Yeah, the guy's fucking wrestling game was legit. Okay, boy can move, low key athlete right there. Got a good chin, throws some power back. Dontel Mays shit the bed frequently, in my opinion. A lot of the shot selection.
Yeah, but he's awkward as well, though, man. I kind of feel that's what clipped Hamdi in the second round. It's just like Dontel Mays doesn't always do the thing that you expect a good fighter to do, and he's athletic and he's explosive and he's tall. But I kind of thought it made Hamdi's performance better. He had to fight some adversity. We saw him do well in the striking, but then we saw him really execute the wrestling game plan when he needed to.
Yep. Saw some versatility, saw the ability to adapt, saw a shit ton of heart and toughness.
Guy likes to fight.
He's on my fucking watch list. Heavyweight is getting a lot better. Obviously, it's like the marquee division because of the caliber of finish. But let's be real, the shallowest division across all of MMA, to be honest. But
not a lot of people weigh 265 pounds. That's the problem.
Yeah. But UFC are fucking putting together a nice, deep, young roster of heavyweights now.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what I like about him. I know he's a little bit tubby, but he's like DC tubby in that sense of like it's nothing but cardio and extra weight to help his power and his wrestling and all the rest. He's not tubby the way that like Parker Porter or Josh Parisian is tubby.
Nah, he's kind of like the guy the Iranian Hulk's trying to pretend to be. By the way,
he got smashed.
You saw that.
He got smashed, mate. That pops up on my feed. I didn't watch the fight, of course.
It was difficult to watch. So bad. It's honestly like if you take our worst ever sparring session, like the most tired and hungover and out of shape we've ever been, it's still 10 times worse than that. It's fucking atrocious.
Dude's fucking bodybuilders can't ever fight, man.
No,
it's too much, too heavy.
I think the dude he was fighting was a fighter.
Yeah,
but he didn't look it. He was not a good fighter.
Didn't need to be.
Fuck him.
Did not need to be. Okay, so very much enjoyed that. Drakkar Klose versus Rafi Garcia. I'm going to be honest, this was not a fight I paid the largest amount of attention to.
It was a good fight. It was a good fight.
Good. I had my mate Sammy was texting me a lot. He was watching the fights at his house in Marbella. So that was one of the fights where I was a bit more distracted by messages than the fight. But I'll be honest, I kind of thought either guy could have won it. I was quite glad when Drakkar Klose did because I picked him. But yeah, I mean, both guys are good. I respect both guys.
Two very similar, cut from the same mold. Klose just seems to have a bit more confidence about him on the night, but Rafa will be back.
Agreed.
Actually, real quick, because we're not going to do a news section or anything this week or anything. Obviously, Cub Swanson, Rafa's coach, or one of Rafa's coaches, dropping down to 135, fighting Jonathan Martinez, big fucking head.
Oh, I like that.
I'm pretty fucking psyched for that.
Assuming
he looks good at 35.
He's such a good athlete, man. Like I don't deny. I mean, I think he'd do it the right way. His age, maybe he's fought at 35 before though.
How long ago? This is back in the WEC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think this is when he's a young man, not fully grown. Now he's an old man. It's like, how much is that weight cut gonna deplete you?
This was a couple of fights ago, but he says he's lost a lot of muscle mass. Like, I think he's naturally just slimmed down. Because he mentioned, I remember, I don't think it was after his most recent fight, but the fight before. I think when he fought, what's his name? The Damage. Darren Elkins. He fought Darren Elkins. He said he was even asking for fights at 135 because he was feeling so light. So I'd be up for that.
I'm excited.
No, Rafa Garcia will be back. Really, I mean, the other big fight I want to talk about was on the early prelims. I mean, Nikolai Moreno absolutely shut down the hype train of Ihor Potieria. That for me was a real Kickstarter for the card.
Yeah.
And what a way to do it as well. Great boxing combinations. Wrestled him, used the wrestling to then set up the strikes.
If just the first 10 seconds, wonderful combination, backs him up straight into the clinch. Like, who's your daddy? He fucking beat the brakes off him for a round and a half. I think Poitiera, I've seen him on the Contender Series. I think this kid is going to be exciting. I don't regret picking him. But yeah, Negu's a bit of a beast. Be interesting to see how far he can really go. He's flying under the radar right now, even my own, to be honest. But shit, you keep doing stuff like that.
Not that many people are light heavyweight either.
Yeah, you're going to put yourself in a position to get found out, and that's the best fucking thing to do when you're on his pay grade. Let's move on.
There's a path.
Just grab a number.
There's a path. To be honest, the other three fights, nothing was bad. I mean, I thought Jocelyn Edwards, did what she needed to do against Ji Yoon Kim. It was a bit of a weird fight. Kim's usually a flyweight. Jocelyn Edwards' last fight was at featherweight.
Yeah.
That was a little wild. I think Edwards missed weight.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, her and Orion both missed weight. I think those were the only two on the card.
And yeah, I mean, Michael Morales, I thought did not look as impressive as I thought he was going to. He got the win in the end, but I actually thought Figueiredo on short notice looked really good.
Yeah, the new boy was up for it. Came in game, but I think ultimately just kind of wilted against Morales. Michael Morales, young, super fucking talented. Not really much else to say about that one. Nice finish though.
And opening fight of the card, Orion Kosuke against Blood Diamond Mike Mathetha. This wasn't the best of fights, man.
I gave him the first 2 rounds, despite the suplex.
Yeah, I don't think he just doesn't look that good. I mean, Kosuke didn't look that good. That's the problem. Kosuke didn't have a good night, and he still wasn't really. Blood Diamond wasn't really able to look that good himself, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I didn't have an issue with it. I thought Kosuke won.
I thought the judges fucked it up a bit, but I picked Kosuke, so I'll take it. I think we all picked. Oh no, Sly picked Blood Diamond, but overall Sly kind of fucked his picks up this week, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, Sly had a shocker.
Yeah.
You won the picks this week. Fucking sticking with Nunes, picking Sergey turned out to be the big differences. I would have had a fucking amazing run if I hadn't got those 2 wrong, because I got a lot right. I was pretty happy with myself.
Yeah, I think we finished with 10 and 9 right.
Yeah, and the ones I got wrong, like I should have picked Edwards on size over Kim. Alex Moreno, probably should have picked him on reflection, but semi the Jedi, you just get caught up, don't you?
Well, so just Moreno can be a bit inconsistent, and there's a huge fucking size difference. So you hedge your bets. That's like the better version of Moreno that turned up. But I think probably 8 times out of 10, Semi probably cracks him early and wins that fight. It's just, he was so nice and light on his feet in the early going. And then once he closed that eye up, I was surprised Semi was able to fucking put a beating on him in the 3rd round like he did with one eye. But
he's a tough guy. Very tough guy. But listen, man, hell of a card, man. Hell of a card. Really enjoyed it. Very interested. I think there are good sort of fights that you can set up after this, which is nice.
Yeah.
And we've got a good card coming up this week. So that's our show for today. Look out for the pick show, which I think is more likely to drop tomorrow.
It's the way I'll schedule it, yeah. I'll put this one out ASAP, and the next one will drop. I tend to do 7 o'clock Spanish time, 6 o'clock UK time, but guys, I'm fucking open to suggestions. All you got to do,
just let us
crack
know.
Your little fingers out, type some little comments. We will engage. Or at the very least, I'll listen to what you do. Again, very fickle. Just tell me. I'll do it.
And guys, sorry that this is coming out on a Tuesday again. We will record on Monday next week.
Sorry. So yeah, this episode's out right now. It's late night Tuesday. You already know that if you're watching the premiere. Pick show will be Wednesday. I'll schedule it a little early because it's a Wednesday and that.
We'll be back on regular schedule next week, we promise. There was many extenuating circumstances that keep stopping us doing this on Monday, but it is okay. We persevere. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Guys, thanks for watching. And as always, bye Dave, bye Laura, bye Tree.
Bye Dave.